The following program is paid for by Absolute Mortgage, a division of Finance of America Mortgage LLC, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 1071, AZBK 0910184. Tina Mitchell, MLO 145420, is a licensed loan originator with Absolute Mortgage. Visit AbsoluteLoans.com or call 888-90-HOMES for cost information. You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, sponsored by Absolute Mortgage, a division of Finance of America Mortgage. Now, in the studio, local mortgage and finance expert, Tina Mitchell.
Welcome to The Money Hour at 11:50 a.m. KKNW, the Saturday, June 25th show. I am your host and mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell, bringing in expert advice and inside knowledge on today's events and our local economy and how it will affect your money. If you're hearing my show at a different time or day, you are listening to a rebroadcast, but I'm here to answer any questions or connect you with the guests that I have on the show today. Please call at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. And line up for the show today. It's going to be a great day. I'm hanging out with a bunch of guys. I'm the only girl in studio today, so this will be lots of fun. My lineup is Keith Medley and Brian Walker with Final Phase Inspection. Today we're going to be discussing the significant home inspection issues. So, of course, we're going to help you to avoid those issues that may come up. And also in studio, first time visiting me here is Joe Maassen with Caring Transitions in South Puget Sound. We're going to be talking about senior relocation, downsizing, and estate sales. And from the other side of the spectrum, I have Aaron Murphy, owner of ADM Architecture, booming your bottom line. Aging in place, it's not just about bedpan business. It's a vision for the future of our community in the new longevity economy. Great information and Grace Grass in studio today. For more information on any of the topics discussed or any topics that you'd like to hear on future shows, you can always call the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. And today, we'll start at the show, as always, with a little money chat.
Money.
Bi-weekly mortgage payments with your bank is the topic I'd like to bring into studio today. Numerous companies say that you can save thousands of dollars by setting up bi-weekly mortgage payments, and all you have to do is pay an enrollment fee, a few $100s, and a small monthly handling fee, and the payment company will handle the rest. Now, it doesn't make financial sense when you can just do this yourself, so this is what I want to break down for you. Don't pay any money to a third party to help you set up bi-weekly mortgage payments. You don't have to pay the company to reap the benefit of making half the mortgage payment every 2 weeks. To understand why, you need to know how the biweekly mortgage payment companies, how this works, and just as important, what they don't do. So what companies do is help you make an extra mortgage payment each year, and that will save you thousands of dollars and shave years off of your 30-year loan. That is true. What they don't do is apply payments immediately to your loan balance. That's the key. If they're not applying it immediately, why wouldn't you do this yourself? So when you enroll in a biweekly payment program, you authorize the company to debit your bank account electronically every 2 weeks. The money goes into an account controlled by the payment company. When the company has debited your account twice, it has enough to make your full payment, which is then sent to the mortgage servicer. Now, the magic behind a biweekly payment is based on the fact that there are 52 weeks in a year. When your bank account is debited every 2 weeks, you make 26 half payments a year, equivalent to 13 monthly payments. Now, an extra payment a year makes a big difference. For an example, if you borrow $100,000 at a 6% interest rate, okay, high interest rate, but we're going to go with this. For a 30-year, you would pay $600 a month principal and interest. Let's say taxes and insurance bring the monthly payment to $1,000. By making an extra $1,000 payment every year, you would pay off the mortgage in just over 22 years, knocking almost 8 years off of the loan and saving about $34,000 in interest. So save the same amount cash by doing it yourself. There are several ways to make extra payments each year. You can save your money up and make that extra payment each December or any month you choose, telling the mortgage servicer that the extra payment is going towards principal. It is important to notify that it's going towards principal, because if they don't have a direction, they may apply it towards maybe your escrow account. So be specific there. Or you could divide your monthly payment by 12 and send that amount plus your regular payment every month, instructing your mortgage servicer again to apply that towards principal. I would suggest in this situation you write out 2 separate checks just to not have any confusion there. Some lenders will let you write 1 check that includes the regular mortgage payment plus the extra towards principal. Other lenders prefer that you write 2 checks. Again, that's what I'm advising to do. It just makes it easier. 1 for the regular payment and 1 for the extra, as your lender will follow whatever method you give them. Now, if you pay the company to debit your account across every 2 weeks and automatically make the extra payment for you every 12 months with most services, you would pay the one-time fee of the setup fee, which is going to range anywhere from $200 to $500, plus your service fee, which is going to be $2.50, maybe $4.50 for each biweekly payment. Over 22 years, you would end up paying at least $1,600 in fees. Now, maybe $1,600 in fees over 22 years is not that big of a deal, but for me, and what the show's about is saving you money. So why not just make that extra payment on your own? That is my money chat for today, and coming up next in the Money Hour, what surprises are behind the walls of your home? I have Keith Medley and Brian Walker with Final Phase Inspection right here on 1150 AM KKNW after the short break.
It may be hard to believe, but people just like you are already saving money. FeedThePig.org makes it easy. Their simple savings plan teaches you how to start saving without going overboard. So you don't need to start foraging wild berries.
I was skeptical, but these are actually pretty good.
You don't need to sell your soul to the devil.
$15 is the best I can do.
You just need FeedThePig.org. Don't get left behind. Get tips and tools at FeedThePig.org. Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
When I was little, I didn't talk for a long time. I liked things to always be the same. Anything new or different would scare and upset me. I was very sensitive to lights and sounds. It was almost like I had bigger eyes and ears than everyone else. So I built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. I didn't like looking people in the eye. It made me feel uncomfortable. I'd throw big tantrums over little things like when my socks didn't match. Sometimes I'd do the same things over and over. Until one day, I found out I had autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I learned how to live with it better.
You can see signs of autism in children as young as 18 months. Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell. Sponsored by Absolute Mortgage, a division of Pinnacle Capital Mortgage Corporation. Now, in the studio, local mortgage and finance expert, Tina Mitchell.
Welcome back to the Money Hour with your host and mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell, right here on 1150 AM KKNW, the Saturday, June 25th show. It's a great day to talk money. That's why I'm here with you and what the show is all about, how to make money, save money, and build a better quality of life for you and more importantly for your family. If you're hearing my show at a different time or day, you are listening to a rebroadcast, but you can always call the show at 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. In studio right now with me, I have Keith Medley and Brian Walker, regular contributors to the show and represent the space for home inspections. They're with Final Phase Inspection and significant home inspection issues is the conversation we're going to have today. Thanks, you guys, for coming back in studio.
That's great to be back.
Thanks for having us.
And I want to give a little bit about final inspection, phase inspection for those of my listeners that have not had the privilege to hear them. And if you want more information on inspections, because we just have about 12 minutes usually with each of my guests, and they've been in many times, just go to themoneyhour.com and you can search Final Phase Inspection and listen to all the segments that I've had with them. Because right now, if you're thinking of purchasing a home, if you're selling a home or you own a home, this is good information for you. So Final Phase Inspection has been providing quality home inspection services in the Pacific Northwest since 2013 with hundreds of satisfied customers. Our focus Their focus is customer service and providing the absolute best home inspection experience. They have multiple inspectors with over 60 years of combined experience in home construction and remodel, as well as restoration from fire and water damage. They offer flexible scheduling and are available 7 days a week. Special discounts are available to police, fire, and military personnel. They are also proud members of the Legacy Caring organization, which serves our senior community and their families. Again, thanks a lot, you guys, for coming back in studio. So as home inspectors, I know that you find yourselves in the deepest, darkest corners of the home, one place I don't want to be. And I can only imagine the variety of things that you must run into. So I think every homeowner would benefit from understanding some of the most significant things that you've seen. Hopefully we can help avoid what's happening or what can happen to them. So Keith, what are the big issues that you're running into of the recent?
Well, we definitely see a lot of different things on our inspections, and by far the biggest issues we run into here in the Pacific Northwest are caused by moisture. It's amazing what even a little water over time can do to a home. It's also really interesting how water interacts with other materials, because that's what creates so many of the issues we find. A slow drip of water can erode solid concrete and at the same time supply enough food for continuous mold growth. And also, gravity wants to pull moisture downward, but moisture can defy gravity and also wick straight up through other materials. So it's really tricky where and how it can find its way in and around a house.
That is really interesting, Keith. And Brian, what are most common issues that you're seeing lately from the moisture damage?
A lot of the issues we're seeing now are from composition siding. And that's, a lot of people will know that as LP, but it really doesn't matter what brand it is. It's all the same. It's put together with wood fiber and glue and has an adverse effect when it comes in contact with water. You get moisture damage, swelling, rotted siding. Water will, as Keith said, water will wick up from the bottom of the siding, and that's how a lot of times the siding will get moisture damage. You have different kinds of siding. You have panel and you have plank. The plank siding is what you see. It sits horizontally, and you want to make sure the undersides are painted. You want your joints well caulked and sealed. You also want to check the grooves of the panel siding, which is also known as T111, and it gets damaged as well. Vegetation against the house can bring water closer to the siding and cause these issues as well. So you want to keep your you want to keep your vegetation away at least 6 inches, a foot preferably, so you can get in there and maintain it. Keeping the water away from your house is the biggest thing.
Makes a lot of sense, Brian. So I see a lot of homes that could probably benefit from a fresh coat of paint and maybe a little good gardening. So Keith, what other areas are you seeing significant damage from moisture?
Well, it's really going to start at the top of the house, and it's the roofing. You know, the roof is really your first line of defense, protecting your home from the elements, and again, gravity is doing everything it can to pull that water down off of that roof. And if your roof's in great shape, it goes into your gutters and into your drains and everything's fine. Well, the leaks in a roof are hidden. They're really hard to see oftentimes, and they cause incredible amounts of damage and rot and mold, because it's the slow drip over time that causes this significant damage. And it causes damage to the wood sheathing under your shingles, to your attic and truss structures and ceilings, walls, all the way down to your subfloor. And really the primary causes are old roofing or missing shingles. We had some pretty big windstorms here this past season, and we go up on a roof and we'll see dozens of shingles that are missing, and those are potential leak points. Blocked gutters allow water to go behind the gutters and back up into your structure. Flashing issues. Flashing is the metal pieces that protect the corners and seams around your skylights and roof-to-wall transitions. And then lastly, we see so much damage from pressure washing. We wish that we could find a way to stop people from pressure washing their roofs. It will literally blow a hole in the roof, and when it's not seen, it becomes a very slow, continuous leak point that will lead to big damage.
Wow. So, Brian, with all of the plumbing in our kitchens and bathrooms, I've got to imagine that there's moisture is a constant threat. So what are the kinds of damage that you can see from that?
Generally, around sinks is a big one. You get disconnected drains or poorly connected drains. Dishwasher drains that are installed incorrectly, where the air gap, which should be on top of the sink, is underneath. And when a leak happens, it destroys the bottom of a cabinet. Mold growth and issues will lead to a full kitchen remodel when you're not prepared for it. Failed toilet seals in bathrooms. A lot of times you can't see these things, and without a moisture meter, you can't tell it's happening. Mm-hmm. So this transcends down into the crawl space where your structure is. It'll moisture damage and rot beams, major structural supports, and that's what's supporting you and your family. The other things is failed seals as far as caulking around tubs where the floor meets the tub. You get in and out of the tub how many times a day and how many people are doing it, and you get water into that gap and it continues to happen.
Yeah.
It creates damage. So you want to make sure that you're keeping an eye. I mean, you look under your sink, always be aware of what's going on. Smells. If you go into your bathroom and you have an odd smell, we all know when there's an odd smell.
Yes.
Okay. That is generally...
I can make a comment right now, but I'm not going to. Go ahead, Brian. Sorry, you just opened that wide up for me, but I'm going to stay quiet.
Oh, that's okay. The thing is you know that's generally a leak issue, and most likely around a toilet when there's smells. And if you do see something, smell something, or something seems out of place or odd, investigate it. Mm-hmm. It's your home. It's your biggest investment.
So I think we could all benefit from taking a closer look at moisture issues around all of our water sources in our home. So Keith, besides moisture damage, what are the other big issues that you see during an inspection?
Well, it really starts with homeowners trying to do work themselves that may be beyond the scope of their expertise. And one of those areas is homeowner electrical work. And we see great work done by homeowners, but we also see homeowners that don't know what they're doing, and the risks associated with that are significant. Electricity is very dangerous, and shock and fire risk is really high. People are doing things, what we call double tapped breakers, where they're basically double taxing the expected capability of these electronic breakers and causing melted wires, damage that can happen inside of a wall where fires can happen, incorrect wiring. Wiring needs to be done a very specific way, and getting close isn't good enough. And I know firsthand, I was doing an inspection a couple of weeks ago, and I was testing a sump pump, and when I reached in to grab it, I got locked into an electrical circuit because a homeowner had connected it incorrectly. So we obviously want to be safe. We want everybody to be safe. And the best way to do that is to work with the pros. But I do want to say electrical tape is not a proper long-term connection option. Makes
sense.
Please work with the pros and don't use electrical tape to do all of your primary connections.
Great advice for my listeners, especially those do-it-themselves guys. Dave, as you guys know, my husband is now retired, so who knows what he's working around on our house. I'll make sure he listens. Tape. Exactly. So electricity can be obviously really dangerous, so it's important to always work, again, as you said, Keith, with qualified professionals. Brian, where are you seeing the most significant concerns for homeowners when they're doing work on their own?
A lot of times they'll make structural modifications.
Okay.
And they don't know
Structural modifications sound dangerous.
Yeah. So they'll move walls. They'll remove walls without actually understanding the makeup of how the home is constructed. And it can be a costly mistake. You're talking about your family and your safety. We're talking about decks. Decks are by far the largest safety issue they've had on homes by collapsing, pulling away from houses.
Yeah.
And I find deck modifications, I went on one where they added a deck to another deck, and then they didn't support it with a proper post.
Oh my
It was
gosh.
being supported by the railing of the stairs. And so it got up there and it was really shaky. The underside not structurally supported properly. I've gone under houses where they've actually taken split pieces of firewood on top of rocks to support major structural beams of the home.
Wow.
Also adding attic storage, or I went into one where they actually added 2 bedrooms in an attic space. And You got up there and the deflection, the sag was 3 inches and no structural supports underneath.
Jeez.
And it's scary, and they're putting their kids up there.
Yeah.
And so this is where, to add on what Keith was talking about, you get people that say that those 3 words, I got this.
Yeah. So what's the most common thing that homeowners try to do on their own that you see causes issues? Is it just a variety of all of?
I would say going back to the decks.
Yeah.
Because everybody...
Well, as soon as that's what made me think of that question, because I'm like, wow, a lot of people seem to want to do their decks.
Yeah, everybody loves that outdoor space. We all want to be on our deck in the summer.
Yes.
Well, make it safe.
Exactly. Hire a professional.
Again, as I said before, it is by far the largest safety issue they have had by injury or deaths is the collapse of a deck.
Yeah,
and when they're not put together properly or supported properly, rails not put on properly.
Yes. So as you guys are saying here, and this is the reason behind the show, the reason behind the show is to bring experts in on any area of your finances to make sure that you have the people, or my listeners, have the people in place to hire that know what they're doing at the highest level. So Keith, anything else that you want to bring in as we wrap up our time together?
Yeah, the biggest one is pretty much everything we're talking about here can be eliminated through proper maintenance. The moisture damage, know your home, look at it. The long-term health of your home and the people inside of it depend on the maintenance. Lastly, always work with the pros.
Yeah.
It is the smart and safe way to keep your family and your home healthy forever.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. It was a great conversation to bring into studio. Will you guys give a shout out with your website? My listeners know where to reach you.
www.finalphaseinspection.com.
There you go. You can always go to themoneyhour.com as well. Again, pick up any of their segments, and just really appreciate you guys. Thanks for spending time with me.
It's great to be here. Thanks.
Thanks for having us, Tina.
Coming up next in the Money Hour, do you want peace of mind and minimize stress when you're trying to relocate or downsize? Joe Maassen with Caring Transitions of South Puget Sound right here on 1150 AM KKNW after this short break.
This is Minnie Driver. Ovarian cancer affects women of all ages, even in their 20s. Family history of cancer and presence of certain gene mutations are risk factors. Talk to your family and your doctor. Know your status. To learn more, go to su2c.org/ovarian.
They'll challenge your authority. They'll try to break your will. They'll push you to the edge of your sanity. Because that's what kids do. But this car is your territory, not theirs. Defend it. Who makes the payments? Who cleans it? Who drives it? You do. That's who. And in here, your word is law. So when you say you won't move until everyone's buckled up, you won't budge an inch. Until you hear that click. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. For more information, visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup.
You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell. Sponsored by Absolute Mortgage, a division of Pinnacle Capital Mortgage Corporation. Now, in the studio, local mortgage and finance expert, Tina Mitchell.
Welcome back to the Money Hour with your host and mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell, right here at 1150 AM KKNW, the Saturday, June 25th show. I'm here to help you build a strong financial blueprint 1 week and one show at a time. If you're hearing my show at a different time or day, you are listening to a rebroadcast. To talk with the guests that I have in studio or to chat with me, you can call the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. In studio right now, I have Joe Maassen with Caring Transition of South Puget Sound, senior relocation, downsizing, and estate planning or estate sales. I do have estate planning come in studio as well. I'll get a little twisted there. Joe, thank you so much. First time I had a chance to have a conversation with you. Appreciate you coming into studio.
Thank you very much for having me.
And a little bit about Joe, again, with Caring Transition of South Puget Sound. 1.5 years experience as certified relocation and transitional specialist. Retired after 31 years in the military. 27 of those were full-time for the Washington Army National Guard. Thank you for your support there, Joe. And conversation today, again, is around senior relocation, downsizing, estate sales. So if really we have listeners that are seniors that are wanting to transition into another space, or if we had kids that are listening that are helping with their senior parents, and that's what our segment is with you today. So what services does Caring Transition provide for any of my listeners that are not familiar with your company?
As you mentioned, with the relocation, we can assist by doing a space plan, packing up the parents, helping them move, and then all of the things when they move that don't fit in their new space, we can help them liquidate those things through an estate sale or an online auction.
Perfect. And I've had the owner of Caring Transition franchise in here before. First time again I've talked with you, but what made you choose to start with Caring Transition as a franchise?
Well, what appealed to me is I was deployed to Afghanistan in 2012, and about that time my wife and my brother-in-law had to assist her parents, or their parents, downsizing and moving out of their house that they've been in since, well, for over 20 years. And I wasn't there to help. And so when I was out looking for a career beyond the military, I found Caring Transitions, and I thought, what a great way to help families. And I was able to go, you've spoken with Jennifer Black and Ian Tolney.
Yes.
I had a chance to meet with them to learn more about the franchise, and they were very encouraging. They've been great mentors.
Yeah.
And I decided to take it on.
Awesome. So how did your experience in the military prepare you to provide these services?
I have a lot of experience as an operations officer and in logistics, so project planning, this is perfect. It's taking on projects and doing that backward planning and making sure that the clients are taken care of.
And Joe, what do you like best about owning and operating a Caring Transitions franchise?
The ability to help families. You can walk into a situation where people are overwhelmed, they're absolutely stressed, and to be able to come in and listen what their needs are and let them know about the best way to move forward to achieve their goals, it's very satisfying.
So with the other providers that are out there, what would you say is different about Caring Transitions?
Well, there may be other services that may provide a portion of the services we do. But if a family comes to us, they don't have to explain their situation to 2 or 3 different companies. They can talk to us, and we can handle the move, we can handle the estate sale, and we can handle the clean out of the property so that we can turn it over to a realtor.
Perfect. And how do my listeners find you?
Normally they find us on the internet, but we also get quite a few clients from networking with other senior service providers and also from referrals.
Perfect. So you provide services, as I mentioned in the beginning of the show, in South Puget Sound. What if someone needs services in the Seattle or the East Side area?
Well, that's great. If they just contact go to the Caring Transitions website or call the 1-800 number, then they'll be referred to the local office that can provide services. So Jennifer Black's in Seattle, and Michelle Green handles the East Side, and between the franchise owners, we can take care of people.
Perfect. So let's talk about that. How do you guys work together as a company in helping each other?
Well, what's great is we meet at least once a month to talk about how things are going, and then if one of us has a surge and it's beyond our capability to handle, we can talk to one of the other owners to come in and help out.
Awesome. So talking about we're not talking about the housing market, but I got to talk about it because I do mortgages for a living, and the housing market is pretty darn crazy right now. How is it going for you guys?
Absolutely. The peak season, people want to ready their home in order to sell it. And so we're getting a lot of calls where people just need to make the property available. And in order to do that, I met with a client yesterday who just wants the house cleared out. They don't want to sell. They want to get the house on the market, and they're saying just get everything out of the house. And we can do that for them.
Yeah, so I mean, it's important as far as what the company offers. Again, it's, relocating, downsizing, and talk about the estate sale side of it.
Well, we've got a couple of different options for people to maximize the return on what they've got in the home. So once we've determined exactly what's left, make sure that once somebody's moved out of the house, or if they are downsizing or right-sizing, if you will, then we
I like that right-sizing.
We want to make sure that any family heirlooms or any property is passed on to family and friends. So once that is taken out of the mix, they can liquidate whatever's left. And we give them a couple of choices on how they can do that. We can do a physical estate sale, if there's a lot of property, or we can do a one-day sale for them, or we can also do an online auction. Online auctions are great because if they've got collections of certain items, we can appeal to a much larger audience. And once again, maximize the return for the client.
Yeah, got it. So if I have a listener that's listening to the show today and thinking about downsizing, maybe in the near future, what advice would you give to them?
Get a free consultation sooner rather than later. The more time that we have to plan, the better we can maximize their return. Sometimes, for example, the client I met yesterday, when they say, I need the house available next week, clear it out, the sale just went off to the side. Oftentimes the sale will pay for our services, but the longer we have, the more options we can give somebody.
So, Joe, when I had not you in studio, but representation from the company, they were talking about the beta with the new auction software. How's that going?
We're still talking about the beta.
Yeah, you are. Well, I own a mortgage software company that I started 7 years ago, and the beta process can go a little while.
It can, but the good news is this: that the system that's in place right now works. So CTOnlineAuctions.com is up, it's operating, it's functioning, and if they come out with something better, great. But for right now, we've got a product that works.
Yeah, awesome. What about some downsizing trends? Are you seeing any trends?
Just people anxious to get. Oftentimes, in order to maximize their return, the value isn't necessarily in the property that they want to liquidate. The value is in the home, and so with a hot market, to accelerate that, rather than take their time to try to sell a couple $1,000s worth of property. What they really want to do is accelerate that to get the house on the market and make it up that way.
Makes sense. So what about in every industry, there's pitfalls and, things that really people could have done better the first time around. So if you were looking at mistakes that are happening when it comes to downsizing, relocating, what would the biggest mistake be that you see?
I'm so glad you brought that up. Biggest mistake I see time and again is that people try to do things themselves, and they think they're being helpful by perhaps taking things to donation, and donating things isn't a bad thing. But oftentimes they're donating things that could have paid for our services to help clean out everything else. So they may take something and donate it where they didn't see the value in it, when we could have included it in a sale and made them some money.
Yeah, got it. So a few ways that are different than other estate sales and auction companies. What would those be?
Would be really, going in, meeting with a client and finding out what their needs are. What is their timeline? How can we maximize the results for them? So is it that full-on estate sale, or in some cases, if the value isn't there after they've downsized and taken a lot of their valuable things with them, then perhaps what we'll recommend is a furniture buyer to come in, get them to make them an offer on the property that's there, and then we go right to the clean out so they can turn it over for sale.
Got it. Now, my listeners always love stories. We all enjoy listening to stories. So what's a recent success story, Joe, that you can share with my listeners?
Had a call a couple of weeks ago. A man's mother passed away, and he said she had wall-to-wall antiques. And it was no lie. I walked into this house, and it was just phenomenal. So it took us about 10 days to get everything photographed. We've got it on an auction right now on our website, and they have to be out of the house by the end of the month, and we're going to help them do that.
Wow.
And it's kind of neat.
Pretty amazing things. Now, if I'm also, I may have somebody listening just thinking, I can do this on my own, and, why hire an expert to do it? How would you answer that?
Well, we've got the experience. And so if they have the time to do those things themselves, fantastic. But oftentimes people don't, and it's easy to get overwhelmed. They'll walk into a room to to process it, if you will. And it's like every item that they touch evokes a memory, and it just slows down, and it becomes overwhelming, and they get really stressed out. So if someone can do it on their own, fantastic.
Yeah.
But oftentimes people need help, and we're there.
Well, and I think you heard it right there too, is well with the emotional, being able to release the emotional stress attached to, relocating, downsizing your home. I mean, it is. And if you can bring in the expert in, it has no emotional connection to anything and can really come in from a sound position to help give you the best advice on what to do.
Right.
Yeah.
And although no connection, a lot of understanding. I mean, we understand what they're going through, and we understand it's a process, and it's just a matter of slowing down and working with them to go at their pace to achieve their goal.
So I know everybody's situation is going to be completely different, Joe, obviously, but on an average, what type of time frame should someone be looking at when they'd actually pick up the call or pick up the phone and ask for your services?
Well, as I mentioned, it's kind of the peak season. Everybody wants to take care of their stuff. Spring and summer is absolutely huge. So the more notice we can get, fantastic. Normally we 3 weeks would be wonderful.
Okay, well, that's a lot shorter than what I would think. That doesn't sound too bad.
Well, at this point, I'd be grateful for 3 weeks. The calls that we're getting now are kind of panicked. So I got a call on the 22nd, and they want the house cleaned out. They need it done. They'd like it done by the end of the month. And, with our dealing with our peak season right now, just a little challenging. But I hire a lot of retired military guys, retired school teachers. There are a lot of students available for me to hire right now. So I can work up a crew to take care of people. Yeah, and
my advice on the show is to hire an expert. It's also not to procrastinate. I mean, it's norm for the majority is procrastination, and that's what adds the stress. It ends up costing more money. A lot of times you make the wrong decisions being in a stressful situation. So just a shout out that to give time to make sure that you're making the right decisions. And again, Joe, you said you guys do a free consultation to see if it's the right. I want to say the right move, the right decision in hiring your company to help with the relocation downsizing process.
It is, and it's important to call the right company and ask the right questions. Are they certified? Is insured, bonded, and are the people trained? Do they provide a background check on their employees? Those are things that we do.
So, Joe, I've got about a minute, and I need to take us to commercial. Last advice that you want to give to my listeners before our time's up here.
Can't say it enough. Be as proactive as possible and call in, and you'll just maximize your options. You can call anytime. You'll just have more options with more time.
Wonderful. Joe, thanks so much for coming into the studio. It was great having a chat with you.
Thanks for having me.
Coming up next on the Money Hour, do you want to stay in your home that you've lived in for years? Do you want to live in your resident of choice? Then you need to start preparing. Aaron Murphy, owner of ADM Architecture, booming your bottom line right here at 1150 AM KKNW after this short break.
The 1,200,000 women and men of Rotary have accomplished extraordinary things. They've taught millions of people to read, worked toward world peace, and have nearly eradicated a crippling childhood disease from the face of the planet. But each of those 1,200,000 women and men know they could accomplish so much more if only they were 1,200,001. Find out what an impact one person can make. Learn about Rotary at Rotary.org.
Here at Empowering the Mature Mind, we provide consulting and design services that allow both homeowners and industry professionals to create successful housing solutions for our second half of life. Empowering the Mature Mind is a residential and outreach program of ADM Architecture. Go to www.empoweringthematuremind.com to sign up for our newsletter and browse all the free and wonderful resources and information available to you right now. Our mission is to help you by dramatically improving your ability to live a longer and happier life at home. Working with Empowering the Mature Mind and ADM Architecture could easily create the best ROI of any investment you could make in your retirement years. Let us prove it to you. For more information, go to www.empoweringthematuremind.com or call 360-440-8475 today. Again, that's 360-440-8475.
You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell. Sponsored by Absolute Mortgage, a division of Pinnacle Capital Mortgage Corporation. Now, in the studio, local mortgage and finance expert, Tina Mitchell.
Welcome back to The Money Hour with your host and mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell, right here at 1150 AM KKNW, the Saturday, June 25th show. I bring in studio the best of the best experts in all areas of finances right here in our local market. I'm here to help you in today's economy. If you're hearing my show at a different time or day, you are listening to a rebroadcast. You can call the show at 1-855-400-1150 or go online to themoneyhour.com. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. Right now in studio, Aaron Murphy, owner of ADM Architecture, booming your bottom line. Aaron, thank you so much for coming back in studio.
Oh, it's always a blessing. Thanks so much for having me.
Of course. And a little bit about Aaron. Aaron, again, is owner of ADM Architecture, booming your bottom line in the Seattle area with 20 years experience in designing and permitting in commercial and residential structures, totaling well over 1 million square feet in building projects, and including having had owned his own real estate investing company for residential housing flips, holds, and rentals. With his commercial experience, ADA went on to focus the aging in place for a niche especially on residential side of his practice in remodeling, additions, and customs, forever homes for boomers and our older Americans. Since getting CAPS certified by NAHB in 2009, Aaron's passion has put him on the stages monthly for local Rotary League Hubs, the state BIAW conferences, and all the way to National ASA Aging Conference speaking in Chicago, and even a TV show on aging in place in Tokyo, Japan at the International Home Health Expo. Aaron is a published author, recognized speaker, and leader around aging in place in the United States and even abroad. In 2014, Aaron joined forces with Mark Haggart to create Booming in Bottom Line, a high-end boutique-styled personalized coaching program and online trading portal, teaching small to mid-sized businesses in the AEC industries, as well as jurisdictions who want to be age-friendly for the future. The right way to speak to boomers and their family members, caretakers, decision makers, sharing marketing and sales strategies that work. Speaking boomer, so you can reach, connect, and engage correctly. Aaron, excited for the new venture that you have going on and the new partnership. That is awesome. So how did you get from simply serving boomers and older Americans as aging in place on to residential side and teaching small businesses owners about boomer consumer opportunity as a trainer, a coach with business partner Mark
Hager.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, how did you get from one place to the other?
Sorry, I know that was a mouthful, but thank you.
It's all good.
So after getting my Certified Aging in Place Specialist certification through the National Association of Home Builders in 2009, I started doing aging in place architecture, remodeling or custom homes that were going to be someone's forever home or to help them stay home longer. That's what most people want as a first choice. And that's what aging in place is about at a housing level. But I was passionate about it. So I've been on stages, like you said, on a monthly basis for over 6 years. And Mark's my business partner in Booming Your Bottom Line. Okay, a separate company from ADM Architecture. Mark got a phone call from a recruiter in L.A. saying, who do you know who's a professional designer on the West Coast? We need someone to go to the Home Health Expo in Tokyo. And Mark mentioned me, and we only ever met through social media at the time. But got back from Tokyo and started having conversations with Mark about all the small business owners that want to understand how do we help this massive demographic, both size-wise and lucratively. How do we help them navigate second half of life? So that's how we got to the point where Booming Your Bottom Line came to came to fruition.
Yeah, well, and the first time I met you was when you were speaking on stage, and there was a lot of different speakers that came in on different topics, and it was kind of just a spontaneous people could stop in or not, and I was really impressed to see how many people were attracted to the message that you had to share and the passion that you had behind it. So that's why I wanted to have you here in the studio. So why is the older adult population something business owners should be concerned about, Aaron?
Sure. Well, let's pick on Washington State because that's where we live.
All right.
Census projections by 2030, 27 counties in Washington are going to have 20% or more of their population over the age of 65.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, King County at 18.3, Pierce 19.2, Snohomish 19.7. And this is something you can find at agingkingcounty.org.
Okay.
If, I can give you guys the link to that. But there's an actual map in every county. The point is when 1 out of every 5 people in any county all across the U.S. is over 65 years old, what are we doing as small businesses to prepare for that?
Yes. So obviously, huge opportunity for any company, services, or even not serving this demographic. It
is, yeah. So the opportunity, or if someone's thinking about getting into this, but they're not doing it yet. Dick Stroud's actually out of the UK, and he's partners with Kim Walker in Asia. Dick wrote a blog last week called "Looks to Me Like the Marketing Industry Has Been Taking Stupidity Tablets." And I was cracking up at this. Great title. I had to read it. What's Dick talking about? Well, the average staff of a certain credentialing marketing company in the UK is 33 years old. 83% of them are under 40. 45% of them are under 30. Only 5% of those marketing agencies are over 50.
Wow. And
yet, the people they're talking to, the consumers of their advertising, will be 50 and above at a rate of 33% by 2024. So wait a minute. 5% of your employees know how to talk to your consumers.
Yeah.
Anyway, you see the gap in that, right? So that's an example where how you message and how you speak to somebody that's 40 plus, 50 plus, 60 plus, it's a whole new world,
of course.
Right? We have something we've never had before called the longevity economy. When they came up with retirement age in 1889, it was 55 or 62. Our lifespan was 47. Do that math, right? So, there's been a gap, but there's a gap right now. But how people are talking and who's listening.
Yes.
So that's where Boom Your Bottom Line kind of comes into play as we're coaching people on how do you do this with your hard copy and your messaging and the way you talk to consumers and clients.
So, Aaron, can you explain, what this really can do for their business?
Yeah, let's zoom out. Okay, I'm going to take you on a imagination trip. For a second.
I'll close my eyes.
Not
here.
a trip, not like that. But this can mean as much as you want it to mean for your business, anybody's business. And I say that because the boomer consumers and those that help them make lifestyle decisions while they age, these folks have more buying power as a demographic than anyone else in the history of the world, okay? You just have to learn how to reach, connect, and engage with them. And that's what we're doing. I mean, when you've got a group, boomers, controlling 70% of disposable income, buying 49% of all consumer packaged goods, and having made more in their careers and then also inherited more from the previous generation than any other group of people in the history of the world.
Wow.
Do that math.
Yeah, no kidding.
You want to help 3 times more clients? You want to make 3 times more sales?
Yeah.
Triple your income? Give back more to your community?
Yeah.
This can be whatever you decide to make of it. It can all be yours. It's just about capturing that. And so that's why Mark and I are training on authenticity and sincerity and empathy and the spirit of educating people through servant leadership. Okay. When you present yourself, boomers know when they're having the wool pulled over their eyes. They'll call BS, no offense, but my parents will. If I'm not talking straight, they're going to call you on it.
Sure.
So you got to do that right. But if you do, there's no ceiling to this opportunity in the next 20 or 30 years.
So let's talk about how will the business owners being ready for this opportunity impact the lives of people in each of our own communities for the better.
Sure. Yeah. Aging in place doesn't work in a silo. Neither does mortgage. Neither does transportation. Right? We have to cross collaborate. And I think the bigger the team, the better the solution for any of our clients, whether you and I collaborate or, anybody that you have on these shows week in and week out. Right? We can be a team. But the vision is helping folks stay in their own home. I mean, again, let's vision for a second. Allow them to keep their pet, keep their garden, keep their friends, stay in the community they love, the house they know, right? Know anybody that has a old blind dog? They know how to get around because they know where the furniture is already.
Yeah.
Right? They're on autopilot. We don't want to screw that up or pull the plug on that early. So if we help those people and give back to our community, we're saving and extending quality of life. Right? We're keeping independence and aging gracefully and allowing them to have autonomy and let them continue their own purpose. Wouldn't that feel good as a business owner? Well, that's what we can do if we're doing our job better and speaking to this demographic in a way that right now marketing is not doing.
Yeah.
They're not doing it right.
Well, like I said, coming into this, my segment and conversation with you is really just giving people a choice, and choice is if taking that choice and staying in your home is being prepared for it. So what do our communities look like if there isn't any focus for small businesses or serving these communities, these customers?
Yeah, what it looks like if we don't do this right. Well, let's take away all the positive things we were just talking about, right? What does that look like? As a Rotarian, I've seen this amazing graphic where they, on a map of the world, took away everything Rotary's done.
Yeah.
Kind of a grim thing, right? And so volunteering really makes the world go round, and boomers and folks entering retirement and ending careers are looking for that purpose, and that's where they're going, right? They're giving back, and it's fascinating. We did a podcast at Booming Your Bottom Line recently about some of those volunteer statistics. Giving and time, financial and time, $8 billion a year business.
Yeah.
Okay. So if we're not helping folks stay in their own purpose and moving forward and having meaning in their lives, well, we're damaging that too.
Sure.
So your mission as a small business owner is aligning with their mission to keep having a quality of life.
So, Aaron, how does a business owner get ready to serve the needs of older customers, and what do they need to do?
They need to learn to lead with giving back, right? Yep. Community involvement, be a part of a cause, and make it clear that your business is a part of that cause. Learn to serve through educating the public. Like I said, speaking on stages. Market to them correctly. Talk to them in a way that resonates. It addresses their dreams and their wants and alleviates fears. When you do this with an amazing customer experience, first contact to finish and follow up, when you do that right, you're going to create loyal customers. Boomers are great in that way. Not only do they have the money to spend, they also love to be loyal, unlike some of the millennial stories you hear, right?
Sure.
We're not June and Ward Cleaver in the pew at church anymore, but we're still referring people to people we trust. Yeah. And that's who you want to be.
Makes sense. So how is living a full, healthy, happy life connected to the community that you live in, Aaron?
When people are younger, they choose communities by things they want and need, right? Work or schools or faith or activities. In other parts of your life later on, your needs are wants are different. In that last half of life, the community is what is meeting their wants and needs. Sure. It's not the other way around anymore. So aging in place, again, it's not just about your house. Now, having a home that works as your body and mind change, inevitably, yes, that's important. But transportation, maintenance, home health, walking the dog, cleaning the gutters. Most of the people that listen to your show know somebody that could be serving boomers better. Sure. And really being able to grow a business and give back.
So, Aaron, I've got just about 2 minutes left here before I need to wrap up the show. So I want to ask you one other question. What types of businesses can contribute to a person continuing to have a full life?
Well, pretty much any business that's serving anybody over 40, right? Think about it this way. Of all the things a person does in the course of their day, now take away a few. Take away half of those things, or maybe all those things as far as them being able to do it by themselves. In order to maintain a norm, what would they need?
Mm-hmm.
Transportation or grocery delivery or the things we were just talking about a minute ago, right? Companionship or social opportunities or the ability to continue to practice their faith. The list goes on. So your mindset would be the only thing stopping you. Where your passion and your career intersect a need like this, there's opportunity.
So, Aaron, I want to give a shout out for you. How do my clients, my listeners, connect with you?
Yeah, as far as today's discussion, like you said, I'm an architect. It's adm-architecture.com. But as far as Mark and I and what we're doing for small business owners, Booming Your Bottom Line is at bybllive.com. And that's where we're coaching small to mid-sized businesses how to reach, engage, and connect with the boomer consumer correctly so you guys can help them help our communities.
Love it.
And help yours too.
Love it. Thank you so much for coming back in studio. It was great to have a conversation on your new venture you guys are having. Again, congratulations.
Always a pleasure. Thank you.
This is your host and mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell, signing off for the day. I got to say goodbye. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday, and I look forward to talking with you more on anything regarding your money right here on 1150 AM KKNW next weekend.
The preceding program is paid for by Absolute Mortgage, a division of Finance of America Mortgage LLC, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 1071, AZBK 09101884. Tina Mitchell, MLO 145420, is a licensed loan originator with Absolute Mortgage. Visit AbsoluteLoans.com or call 888-90-HOMES for cost information.